Dear students, welcome to the second module of Life Process in Living Organisms Part 1. In our previous module, we have learned about living organisms and how various life process helps the living organisms, and also how the living organisms produce energy. We have seen how cellular respiration takes place and about glycolysis. Let us continue with the last step of glycolysis. So what happens by the end of the glycolysis? Along with the pyruvate, ATP, NADH2 and water molecule are formed. So the formed pyruvate enters the next step, that is Krebs cycle for further energy production. The enzymes involved in these processes are NADH2, which is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. You can see the structure of NADH2 and FADH2. These two are very important enzymes. The FADH2 is flavin adenine dinucleotide. This is the structure of FADH2. Both these enzymes are formed in the cells and used in cellular respiration, during cellular respiration. We will see what happens to the pyruvate that enters the TCA cycle. Before that, let us see what is TCA cycle. TCA cycle, it is also known as citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle. It was identified in the year 1937 by the scientist Hans Adolf Krebs. So for whom we are calling this cycle as Krebs cycle. This process occurs in mitochondria in case of eukaryotic cells. In prokaryotic cells, the reaction occurs in the cytosol. So the TCA cycle is a cyclic process. The name itself says it is a cyclic process of chemical reactions used by aerobic organisms. That is, it involves oxygen to release the stored energy by oxidizing acetyl-CoA. We will understand. Actually, we know that pyruvate enters TCA cycle, but it begins with acetyl-CoA. We will see the transformation, how it happens. The pyruvate formed during the glycolysis, it will be decarboxylated and converted into acetyl-CoA. Then the acetyl-CoA is completely oxidized into carbon dioxide, water and the enzymes we saw previously, that is NADH2 and FADH2. It is a key metabolic pathway. It connects metabolism of carbohydrate, fat as well as protein. Let us see the conversion of pyruvate into acetyl-CoA. Pyruvate obtained by the result of glycolysis. You can see the pyruvate molecule here. First, what happens is a carboxyl group from pyruvate is removed and converted into carbon dioxide. The remaining group left out in pyruvate is this acetyl group. This acetyl group will get attached to an enzyme called coenzyme A. So what happens? This acetyl group get attached to this coenzyme A, resulting in the formation of acetyl-CoA. Here, one more thing happens. You can see the formation of NADH. NAD plus will get reduced. Reduced means addition of hydrogen is called reduction. So NAD plus is reduced to NADH. This conversion of pyruvate to acetyl-CoA is catalyzed by an enzyme pyruvate dehydrogenase. So this acetyl-CoA now will be used up in the TCA cycle. Let us understand TCA cycle in detail. You can see this is the overall process of TCA cycle. So the pyruvate, we have seen in the earlier slide, the conversion of pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. Now we will begin with what happens to this acetyl-CoA. So at sometimes this pyruvate can be converted into the final product, you can say, of TCA cycle, that is oxaloacetate also, and you can see the process continues. It is a cyclic process. So we will see in detail what is happening from acetyl-CoA. If you see acetyl-CoA, this acetyl-CoA is a 2-carbon compound. This is part of an enzyme, so it will be removed from it. So acetyl-CoA the 2-carbon compound joins with this oxaloacetate. It is a 4-carbon. You can see the structure is given here. It consists of 4 carbon. It combines with a 4-carbon molecule to form a 6-carbon compound called citrate. Okay, this is the structure of citrate. You can count there are 6 carbon atoms. So the first step is acetyl-CoA. You can see the coenzyme getting removed. Only the acetyl group will get attached to the oxaloacetate and forms citrate. The enzyme catalyzes this reaction is citrate synthase with involvement of water. What happens to the citrate? The citrate will get converted into an intermediate where the water molecule will be removed into a cis-aconitate. It is catalyzed by the enzyme aconitase. You can see the structure of cis-aconitate. This cis-aconitate will again converted into D-isocitrate. Children, this is an isomer of citrate. You know that the structure of a molecule plays important role in chemical reaction. So this citrate is gets converted into this isocitrate with involvement of water, and again aconitase is the enzyme that catalyzes the reaction. It is also a 6-carbon compound. You can see that. So what happens to this isocitrate? This isocitrate is now oxidized into a molecule called alpha ketoglutarate. This is an important step. You can see the formation of NADH2 here. So this is the first NADH2 formed in this cycle with removal of carbon dioxide. Okay, this alpha ketoglutarate now will be again oxidized. Here you will see this alpha ketoglutarate will be oxidized, forming a 4-carbon molecule. You will see the number of carbon atoms getting reduced now. This enzyme is called succinyl-CoA because of the presence of the coenzyme A. Here one more NADH2 is formed, and the enzyme catalyzing this reaction is alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. It means that the reaction is dehydrogenation reaction. So this succinyl-CoA, what happens is we going to get converted into 4-carbon compound called succinate. Here you are seeing energy being formed, but it is not through ATP. It is called GTP. GTP is called guanosine triphosphate. Like adenosine, it is guanosine. It is also a molecule that produces energy. It also have 3 phosphate bonds. Breaking the bond will also produce energy. This also provides energy. Okay, now we are having succinate, which is a 4-carbon compound. This succinate will now be converted into another 4-carbon molecule. This molecule is called fumarate. You can see the difference in the orientation of atom. Okay, the fumarate will be again converted into another 4-carbon compound called malate with the addition of water. This step is catalyzed by the enzyme fumarase. The malate will then finally be converted into oxaloacetate, again a 4-carbon compound. You can see the formation of third NADH2 in this cycle. So this produces many energy rich compounds like NADH2 and GTP and also ATP. The oxaloacetate, then it finally enters another round of TCA cycle, and this process goes on. What happens after TCA cycle? After the TCA cycle, there are chain of reactions called electron transfer reactions, which produces many energy rich compounds. That is, many number of ATPs are formed during this transfer reaction. So from where do the ATPs formed? We know that as a result of glycolysis and TCA cycle, molecules of NADH2 and FADH2 are formed. So these will produce ATP during this transfer reaction. In this process, 3 molecules of ATP are obtained from each NADH2, and 2 molecules of ATP from each FADH2 molecule. Besides ATP, water molecules are also formed in this reaction. This electron transfer reaction is processed in mitochondria only. A molecule of glucose is then completely oxidized in aerobic respiration, and molecules of carbon dioxide and water are the final products along with ATP. So we will see electron transfer reaction now. Let us learn what happens in the electron transport chain. Electron transport chain is a series of complexes that transfers electron from electron donors to electron acceptors via both reduction and also oxidation. Along with electron transfer, there are transfer of protons across a membrane. This transport chain, it is built up of peptides. You can see these are peptides, many enzymes and other molecules. This chain reaction consists of 4 major complexes, complexes 1, 2, 3 and 4. These 4 complexes helps in the transfer of electrons. It takes electrons from the donor and through series of travels like for NADH and FADH2, they take the electron and it gets transformed to many complexes, and finally water is formed along with ATP. This is the process that produces maximum number of ATP. This reaction takes place in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Let us see the total ATP yield from oxidizing one molecule of glucose. A molecule of glucose, now after electron transport chain, it is completely oxidized by glycolysis, TCA and electron transfer reaction, and the total ATP produced are from glycolysis there are 2 ATPs, from Krebs cycle there are 2 ATPs, and from electron transport system alone there are 34 ATPs, total 38 ATPs. Next time children, when you say I am digesting the food, you have to imagine that these many reactions are happening inside my body to produce energy. Nature is so beautiful, it coordinates so all the reactions beautifully, and there won't be any single error in any of the steps we have seen so far. Production of energy is easier in the presence of carbohydrate. But what happens during fasting, hunger? There will be insufficient or no amount of carbohydrate will be present in the body. So during that time, the stored lipids and proteins in the body are used for energy production. The lipids will be converted into fatty acids, where proteins will be converted into amino acids. These fatty acids and amino acids will then be converted into acetyl-CoA. We know what will happen when acetyl-CoA forms. It will undergo series of reactions through Krebs cycles and all, and energy will be produced. We will sum up the aerobic respiration now. Carbohydrates, proteins and fats will be processed to obtain energy. First, carbohydrates will be entering glycolysis, and at the end of glycolysis, pyruvic acid will be formed. Pyruvic acid will be converted into acetyl-CoA, which then enters the Krebs cycle and forms carbon dioxide, water and energy by the end of electron transfer reactions. Then now proteins will be converted into amino acids. That amino acids will be converted into acetyl-CoA. In case of lipids, lipids will be transformed into fatty acids, and those fatty acids will then again be converted into acetyl-CoA, and the process continues to produce energy. Respiration is of two types, aerobic and anaerobic. So far we have seen aerobic respiration. Now we will concentrate on anaerobic respiration. Some organisms, they cannot live in the presence of oxygen. For example, there are many types of bacteria. They cannot live in the presence of oxygen. Such living organisms, they have to perform respiration anaerobically. That is, without the presence of oxygen because they have to produce energy. So in anaerobic respiration, glycolysis and fermentation are the two important steps. So what happens? Glucose is incompletely oxidized and less amount of energy only is obtained in this type of respiration. Pyruvic acid produced through glycolysis, it will be converted into other organic acids or alcohol with the help of enzymes in this process. So this process is called fermentation. That is, formation of alcohol is a result of fermentation. Many higher plants, animals and aerobic microorganisms, they also perform anaerobic respiration instead of aerobic respiration if there is depletion in oxygen level in the environment. For example, you can see seeds. Seeds perform anaerobic respiration if the soil is submerged in water during germination. Same like that, our muscle cells also perform anaerobic respiration while we are performing exercise. But due to this, there will be accumulation of lactic acid. So this lactic acid causes pain and tiredness in the muscles. So this is how energy will be produced through anaerobic respiration. Now let us see different ways of anaerobic respiration in organisms and cells. Glucose undergoes glycolysis. As a product of glycolysis, we get pyruvic acid. This pyruvic acid undergoes fermentation and produce different products like vitamins, vinegar, etc. This takes place in various microbes. There are other ways and other products are produced. For example, by glycolysis, pyruvic acid we are getting. That pyruvic acid will definitely undergo fermentation and produce alcohol. This takes place in yeast. Again, glycolysis. After glycolysis, we get pyruvic acid. This pyruvic acid undergoes again fermentation, and the fermentation may produce lactic acid. This happens in erythrocytes, that is red blood cells, and also in the muscle cells. We will now summarize what we have learned in this module. First, we have started with the end product of glycolysis, that is about pyruvic acid, how pyruvic acid is getting converted into acetyl-CoA. Then we have learned about TCA cycle, where acetyl-CoA, after entering mitochondria, it undergoes chain of reactions and then gets converted into carbon dioxide, water, NADH2 and FADH2 are obtained. The molecules of NADH2 and FADH2 after TCA cycle, they enter a series of chain of reactions called electron transfer chain. Due to this, the molecules of ATP are produced. Then we have seen the overall products of aerobic respiration, the respiration or the obtaining of energy through carbohydrates, proteins and lipids. Then we have also seen about anaerobic respiration in living organisms. So when organisms, when they cannot live in the presence of oxygen, they produce energy through anaerobic respiration. So all this we have seen. There are more in this chapter to be covered. We will see the rest in our next module. Thank you, students. Have a good day.